Hello and welcome to another Ask Guillem after a little bit of a break. There's so many good questions. I want to start with a quick preview of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. But honestly, so many good questions. Maybe we should do a live one and spend an hour or so talking about football because, as I said, I've chosen some, but I could have chosen so many others. Anyway, I hope that this is still a good enough show for you. Just quickly, the preview, Atalanta PSG. I've been saying to everybody, Atalanta is going to win it, just as a bit of a provocation, and because I would like that to be the case. The problem is without Ilicic and their goalkeeper as well. You are talking about an Atalanta that won't be as strong as we've seen previously, but more importantly, PSG. They never get knocked out against sides that are more or less the same level or inferior. Historically and in that season, they always get knocked out by the big guns. And they always had a problem with injuries. At the moment, Mbappé is coming back, even though he may not start against Atalanta. And obviously Neymar will be important. The main thing about this competition, this short competition, and the fact that it's just one leg, this goes pros and cons. First, I prefer home and away because, and I think we all do. Well, I don't know. Maybe some do think that the kind of like FA Cup style competition will make it more exciting. But let me tell you what I think you want. In a way, sport is about learning from mistakes, and football is a game of mistakes. When you have the opportunity to actually correct them in a second leg, that's how you grow. That's part of the excitement as well. How can the manager and the player recover from that mistake? What will they do to actually get better? That's part of what makes it exciting to me anyway. The more I see the bigger players, the better as well. So you actually, won't be allowed to see Messi as much as we would have liked. With at least in the next round, of course, if he ends up in the final, that'd be great. But still, the more I see the better players, especially in important games, the better. Also, it makes accidents and referees' decisions, especially if they are wrong, and we see that they can be wrong, very relevant, far too relevant in my eyes. And that is not a good sign. You'll have a lot of close-ups of the referee in these games. And what's happening as well is that because they realize that and the importance of the decisions, that they wash their hands a little bit and allow VAR to actually take the final decision instead of them. For instance, I don't understand why the referee of the Napoli Barcelona didn't see Koulibaly's penalty. It was so obvious, but still felt like, I don't want to get it wrong. And that slows things down in what it will be games that will be slow anyway for the fear of losing, a bigger fear when there's only one game. There's all that. But it will be fun like a roller coaster is fun. So we'll all jump into the roller coaster and we'll go up and down. In my case, I'm going up to Lisbon and then down, up from Barcelona and down in Lisbon. That's what I'll try to say, because I will be going and doing some work there, and I'll be putting some videos out as well during the competition. That's why I think it perhaps won't be as exciting. Well, it will be exciting, but not as good quality and as dynamic as it would have been if you had been two legs. But anyway, it is what it is. So PSG going through. Atletico Madrid, the Bricalico and Correa, they are the ones who have given positive, and we'll talk about that in one of the questions that gets mentioned. Correa would have had a big important role to play coming from the bench. But, okay, it's like having an injury right now. The plan is for Atletico Madrid to travel on Tuesday to Lisbon instead of Monday as they had originally planned, because there is no more positives. If they had more, that kind of answers one of the questions, but if I find it, then I will just be able to put it in the screen. Abdallah Tariam says, what happens if more UCL players test positive in Portugal? What if 4 or 5 players test positive right before the final? Any plans in place for such a plausible scenario? Well, first thing is that UEFA have said they will not change timings or dates, so it has to be played. And for as long as they've got in the A squad, because they had to send an A squad and a B squad, the A squad with, I think it's 27 players, as long as they've got 13 and one goalkeeper, you can play. Less than that, you lose 3-0. So that's what has been decided, and they haven't been given much margin to move dates, so that's what will happen. Hopefully it won't. But that's the first one affected is Atletico Madrid. I still think they will go through against RB Leipzig. And it's not just the absence of Timo Werner. Nagelsmann has been very clever in pointing out that, so what? If we haven't got him, we haven't got him. We don't worry about things we don't have. And that's fair enough. And I like the way they play, the dynamism. They haven't played a lot for, is it a month and a half since the German league finished? Well, they haven't played at all, basically. But in any case, this is a team that needs to be physically sharp and have that bit of how can I put it? Physical alertness that's mental and physical both, that you get after you played few games. Atletico Madrid will be happy to hand the initiative to them, and then they will try to counter-attack. I think they're favourites because they know how to play games that are finals, even more than RB Leipzig. What else? Manchester City, Lyon. I feel that Manchester City are favourites. They've shown a maturity against Real Madrid that will help them in these cases. They create a lot of chances. They don't convert them, not as much as they should. But still against a Lyon side that, again, has not played like in 5 months, only one game, isn't it? Or 2 games. The cup final and the game against Juventus. And against Juventus, they perhaps shouldn't have gone through. They did well, but helped by a mistake. Referee giving a penalty to them that wasn't. All in all, they took advantage of the circumstances. But I think Manchester City have got more individually and collectively. And finally, Bayern Munich, Barcelona. Barcelona, and again, there are 1 or 2 questions about that. In fact, I'll wait for that question to actually talk more about Barcelona, Bayern Munich. But I'm going to start with an that's not the word, discussion that has been taking place after I put the tweet out about Ask Guillem from Andreas Jai and Aitor Frances, and I like the fact that that is possible, that people communicate and discuss things. So Andreas says, why doesn't Barcelona use Messi as a false 9? Lost lot of speed because of his age, and also use fast-paced wingers. They need speed, which they lack in a lot, in my opinion. What do you think? Aitor Frances says, I'm not Guillem. No, you're not Aitor, but you're Aitor. Hello, Aitor. But if you don't mind, I'll answer you. Go ahead. That's a valid situation what you propose, but it happens that so far nobody had the balls either to sit Suarez or bench them or send him away. We lack speed and combination. He drags himself on the pitch. It's a shame. And Andreas J answers, the board is the major issue for me. Wrong signings of Coutinho and Griezmann. They don't have the speed of players, wingers. Barcelona was warned by Dortmund about Dembele injury history, but they went ahead. I think they were. We need, because he got injured at Dortmund, we need small, fast, technical fullbacks, but went ahead with Firpo. Let me add one thing here. You have to, as a manager, realize what you've got and then work with what you've got. And what certainly Barcelona haven't got pace. They could have more pace or dynamism if they had Ansu Fati and Ricky Puig, for instance. But they don't want to go that way because they think that, and I said it when I was at CBS in a video that's out there, and I do believe this. They think that 15 minutes of good football and a bit of Messi will allow you to go 1-0 ahead or score a goal anyway, and then defending compact and even deep sometimes, even though that's not their speciality, could be enough to win. But because there is no alternative, it's the only way they think they can use to win. It's not ideal, and of course, yes, the fact that they got to this stage of recent history where they lack, so obvious, they lack many things. But one of them is dynamism and youthfulness. Only 3 players were, the 11 that play against Napoli were under 28. And that obviously has got an effect. If you want to play the Barcelona way, which is like pressure high and making sure that there's a lot of movement of the ball so the ball can be passed around. They don't have any of that. So they hope that with this plan that I told you, they can actually go to the next rounds of the Champions League. Difficult, very, very difficult. Right, let's see more questions from CM Cop. It says, in your opinion, which Spanish player never to have played in the Premier League would have made the most impact, and for which team or era? Interesting one. And I think Raúl was so clever, so clever, even though he wasn't fast, he wasn't the greatest header of the ball, he didn't have a right foot really. But at a time where in the Premier League teams defended really badly, and all the strikers, Spanish strikers like Fernando Torres, took advantage of it, Raúl would have been a great addition to a big side. I see him play for Manchester United maybe. At a time where Manchester United did well domestically, but not so well in Europe. Could have taken them to the next level. How about that? Never thought of that question. It's a good one. Rafi Meshaba says, why did they cancel Messi's second goal? Handball. If there is the ball hit in the hand and is within the rules that dictate when you have to disallow a goal like this, you can take advantage of it, for instance, of that situation, and then it becomes a goal, you have to cancel it, disallow it. But I've watched the video many times. I think he touches the ball with his hand, but I'm not 100% sure. This one, though, and I made a mistake when I put it on Twitter, this one wasn't about clear and obvious. This one is if he touches the hand and he takes advantage of it, disallowed it, even though it's not clear at all that that's what happened. Adnan Safar says, will Quique Setien be Barcelona's manager next season if they play in the semi-finals or the semi or the finals of this season Champions League? I think Quique Setien won't be there next season. And as soon as I got more news of something I'm following up, I'll let you know, because I think they probably have identified the substitute for next season. Always Oli says, Guardiola seemed pretty positive that Eric Garcia would be a factor for City for years to come, and he was, and he thought he would be. Isn't it a bit out of the blue that a player would want to leave like this despite having had Pep's confidence? It's football, and I'm sure that Pep is disappointed, because they thought about a month and a half, 2 months ago, that they could convince the player to renew. But I think the player, as it stands right now, doesn't want to renew. As Pep Guardiola has said, that's exactly true. And the Barcelona, he knows what Barcelona can offer to him. He's happy with that, and he will like to be the centre back of Barcelona for next season. Imagine 19, 20, and you will become a regular, definitely a regular with Lenglet, with Piqué. Regular as in they will be rotating, but he won't be a starter like every game, but he will be regularly in the lineup. That's what he's been promised. So he fancies the idea of going to Barcelona. And yes, it is disappointing to put all this emphasis and focus and hope in one player, and then he goes. That happens to him, Beagles or United a lot as well. Is Pedri and Trincao stay in first team next season? The idea is that Trincao is, but Pedri is asking if he's not going to be played, he's 17, remember, if he can go on loan. And that's what's being discussed. The possibility even of going on loan in Germany, but not decided yet. I think for a while Barcelona would like to say, look, bringing on this youth into the first team, but ideally for Pedri, that's his choice, is to actually play on loan somewhere. On Monchu and Collado. Collado actually will, and Monchu, possibly, they calculate that both of them will be in the first team next season. Lawrence is asking, is this new format the future of Champions League, one of ties? But you know what? There is already, the doctors of clubs, they call it, how do they call next season? There's a word they use for it that's very descriptive. I cannot think of the name. But one in which it won't be smooth. If there are cases and teams that cannot play, a team may have played 10 games, another one 4, and then they have to put all together. And it's expected that will be the kind of season it will be. In my eyes, they should do like an opening and closure season, like in Argentina, where everybody plays everybody, but just one leg, and then the second leg gets played later on. And then allow calendar to breathe a little bit. And yes, a Champions League should be one leg affair this next season as well. Not think it will happen. I don't think it will happen because there's a lot of money involved, but it will make sense for the next 12 months if football was like that, as Lawrence suggests. Team Messi again, Barcelona trying to sign Alaba this summer. Is Lautaro Martinez deal is dead for this summer. Lautaro is not completely dead, but at the moment Barcelona are playing it cool. They've got an agreement with the player and they're saying, well, if Inter don't want to sell, they don't want to sell. They want to take it later in the summer when they actually will be able to say, look, we've got these players for you, Inter, and Lautaro wants to go. Lautaro has said to Inter, either I go or I stay at Inter. That's all the possibilities that there are. So we'll have to see where it goes. And Alaba, no chance either, even though he's playing fantastically well as a midfield. Finally, from Cheats88 says, do you think Barcelona will retire number 10 shirt once Messi either retires or leaves the club for pastures new? To be honest, I haven't heard anything about that. I think he's been massive for Barcelona. I also feel that Barcelona think the club is bigger than anybody. And I'm not sure they will do that. In any case, we'll have to see how he leaves Barcelona, because that also will be important. Remember that he has decided not to negotiate another contract if his contract finishes not this summer, next summer, as it automatically got renewed in May. And let's see what happens, because right now this is a way of Messi saying, do you know what, show me that we can still be competitive for me to stay here happily. And that's where we stand. I hope you enjoy the Champions League, and I'll speak to you just before the semi-finals. How about that? Cheers.